Thank you.
Now, we need to talk a little more about the wave of establishment Republicans getting behind Donald Trump, including a big name from New England. Also hailing from the Northeast, our next guest, host of the Howie Carr Show. You see a portion of it daily right here on Newsmax TV at 4 Eastern Time. The slim, trim, handsome Howie Carr. Also joining us from Louisiana, co-chair of the Louisiana Trump campaign and a Trump delegate, author of America's Last Chance, Jeff Crouere. Gents, we thank you very much for coming in. And Howie, let me start with you. John Sununu, earlier in this campaign, was hostile to Mr. Trump, but now he has joined up and boarded the Trump train. Are we going to see more establishment types get in on this thing?
JD, I don't think they have much choice. You know, John Sununu, you're right. He was extremely hostile. We just had a primary in New Hampshire for the statewide races. Sununu's son was running as one of 4 Republican candidates. The Sununus, as you know, have controlled Republican politics in New Hampshire for 35 years. Chris Sununu could only get 31% of the vote in a 4-man race. He won the primary, but that's not a very impressive showing. And I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that Donald Trump is more popular in New Hampshire than anybody named Sununu. And I think John Sununu realizes that he better get on board, and his son better get on board if they want to reclaim the governor's mansion in November.
And Jeff, obviously, the political atmosphere in Louisiana a little different from what we see up in New Hampshire. But as you're watching this, was it kind of inevitable that the establishment would come along? Or with the Bush family, 41 and 43, still apparently steadfast in their opposition, are we going to see some more patrician holdouts?
JD, we're still waiting on W. We're still waiting on Jeb. We know George H.W. Bush is going to be voting for Clinton. We do know Lindsey Graham is a holdout, and most of the other ones who did run are now finally behind Trump. We just had Carly Fiorina, Ted Cruz. So they're coming together gradually, but the Democrats do a much better job of uniting than Republicans. And I think it's crazy that there are any Republicans out there. I saw John Warner today, JD, endorse Hillary Clinton. It's crazy to me that any Republican could be behind Hillary Clinton. Yeah,
that's right. Senator Warner, well, just the name John Warner, enough said. Hey, guys, let's take a call at 1-877-NEWSMAX from Detroit. Jim joins us. Hi, Jim. Hello, Jim. Are you there? We're having some trouble with Jim, so let me go back to Howie. It's just up there in your neighborhood, Howie. Up in Vermont, there is the former governor, Howard Dean, taking to Twitter about Trump during the debate. We're going to put this up on the screen where he says, notice Trump sniffing all the time, Coke user, and he ain't talking about the soft drink from Atlanta. But none of the alphabets have talked about it. You had that. Meantime, other internet stuff about Hillary and her eyes just kind of staying wide open. Since Howard's broached the cocaine thing, should we bring up Hillary and ask who her Dr. Feelgood might be?
Yeah, that's a good point, JD. Does this open the door so that we can bring up the famous police undercover audio of Roger Clinton, Bill's brother? Remember that back in the 1980s? He's buying drugs from a supposed cocaine dealer, and he says, "My brother Bill, he has a nose like a Hoover vacuum cleaner." I mean, that's a public document, JD. You know, that's not speculation. That's what Roger Clinton said about his brother. But if you or I or Donald Trump raised that, that'd be the worst. That'd be the end of the world. That'd be worse than talking about Miss Venezuela, you know? But if it weren't for double standards, there'd be no standards at all with these people.
A very quick check on a call from Louisville, Texas. Bill is on the line. Hi, Bill.
Hi, how are you?
Fine, thanks. What's on your mind?
Calm back to complain again. Well, when Hillary goes for these 30,000-foot comments like income inequality, you need to point out that the Democrats sent all the good blue-collar, middle-class jobs out of country.
See,
Put them off. I had one
they
of
sure
those, so I
did,
know
man.
that.
South of the border. That's a very valid
could that
point,
maybe
Bill.
be the reason for income inequality? Because those people had to take minimum wage jobs.
You're absolutely right. And let's get Jeff Crouere, who is down in Louisiana, not exactly on the southern border, but in the southern tier of states. What Bill points out is something that it would have been nice to hear out of Donald Trump in the debate. And no doubt you're pro-Trump. A lot of us looked at that and we said, gee, he failed to prepare for the debate to have those snappy one-liners. He was pretty good on trade, but a lot of other stuff he just wasn't there. Do you expect him to go through a mock debate before debate number 2, Jeff?
I'll be glad to help train him, JD. I do think he needs a little more practice, but he did fairly well. I mean, remember, it was 2 against 1. It was Lester and Hillary against Donald Trump. So he did pretty well considering the fact he had a moderator that was against him. But you know what? He did bring up NAFTA. He brought up the fact that jobs are leaving. This is resonating in Michigan and Ohio and Wisconsin. These are some states that I think are turning in his direction. And he hit that issue pretty hard. I think that was the best part of the debate for Trump when he talked about trade and jobs. And really, isn't that more important to people than birtherism? I mean, isn't that more important than what Lester Holt was talking about in the debate? It's jobs, it's economic security that people want to talk about.
And gentlemen, we appreciate the fact that you were ready to talk about just about any subject this afternoon on America Talks Live. Howie Carr, we will be looking for you this afternoon as we televise a portion of the Howie Carr radio program. Thanks so much. And Jeff Crouere down on the bayou. Thanks a bunch, Jeff. We'll have you back real soon. There is more ahead, including more of your calls on America Talks Live.